Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is RT Recap on 3 Buck Theater. That's right, your number one source of a dude on the internet giving his thoughts, analyses, and opinions on what other people say about movies. That's what I do here. But I like it. I think it's a lot of fun to do the RT Recap, to dive into Rotten Tomatoes, look at the scores that critics give movies, and then analyze it and interpret it from a layman's perspective to give you the deets on what you may not know about this film that's coming out. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'm full of myself. I have no idea, but I enjoy it and you guys seem to like it too. So let's take a look at Ralph Breaks the Internet, aka Wreck-It Ralph 2. It's been 6 years since the last one. Usually Disney isn't this slow in cranking out sequels. So I'm a little bit surprised that it took this long to really capture the internet. I mean, the internet's changed a lot from 2012 to 2018, and none of it for the better, with the exception of high-speed pornography. But it's a kids' movie review. Gotta keep that in mind. Anyway, so here's a general consensus: 91% Rotten Tomatoes scored. It's going to be certified fresh here very soon, guaranteed. Saying the general consensus is that Ralph Breaks the Internet levels up on its predecessor with a funny, heartwarming sequel that expands its colorful universe while focusing on core characters and relationships. And ultimately, that's what I want in a movie like this. That's what I want in a Wreck-It Ralph sequel. Because I remember when I first saw the first movie, the first time I saw it, I didn't really care for it, to be honest with you. I didn't really like it. And I'm an internet guy. I'm a gamer. I'm an internet geek. They had a bunch of references, a bunch of things I should like. But there's something with the movie that wasn't really resonating with me at the time. And then I watched it more and more and more and more and more to the point of where it actually for a while became my go-to sleep movie. I would put it on at the end of the day to kind of calm down, unwind, and enjoy Wreck-It Ralph. And I look forward to introducing that to my daughter here when she's old enough to understand it. So this movie I have very high hopes for, and 91% so far seems pretty good. But if you don't know what the plot line of the movie is, let's take a quick look here. In Ralph Breaks the Internet, video game bad guy Ralph, voiced by John C. Reilly, and best friend Vanellope von Schweetz, voiced by Sarah Silverman, leave the comforts of Litwax Arcade in an attempt to save her game Sugar Rush. Their quest takes them to the vast, uncharted world of the internet, where they rely on the citizens of the internet, the netizens, to help navigate their way. Lending a virtual hand are Yes, voiced by Taraji P. Henson, the head algorithm and heart and soul of the trend-making site BuzzTube, and Shank, voiced by Gal Gadot. Tough as nails driver from a gritty online auto racing game called Slaughter Race. A place Vanellope wholeheartedly embraced, so much so that Ralph worries he may lose the only friend he's ever had. Directed by Phil Johnson and Rich Moore, written by Phil Johnson and Pamela Ribon. So it definitely seems, let's be fair, Emoji Movie is there's gonna be some references here. There's gonna be some similarities. There's gonna be some comparisons. Emoji Movie was a film that came out in the summer of 2017 that, for the most part, was pretty much lambasted across the web. I caught it one night on Netflix and I didn't hate it. But it felt like it very much wanted to be Wreck-It Ralph without embracing what Wreck-It Ralph was, which was a good story wrapped around jokes, in the center of jokes. This one felt like it was the exact opposite. It was trying to tell a story, but using memes and jokes to get there. And I'm a little bit worried that it's what's going to happen in regards to this film. However, quick spoiler thing here. Apparently, Alan Tudyk is back as King Candy. Yes. I loved him as King Candy. Never mind the fact that in all these Disney movies, Alan Tudyk essentially plays the same damn character. Don't believe me? Put King Candy right next to the Duke of Weselton and Frozen the next year. It's the exact same voice. And also the Weasel, the Duke of Weaselton in Zootopia the year after that. Or not year after that, but after that. Same voice. He plays the same character, kind of like John Ratzenberger for all the Pixar films. Anyway, so let's take a look here at what the top critics are saying. So this is the part where I dive into what is on the front page of Rotten Tomatoes page for the movie, and we take a look at what the snippets are, the conclusions are of each reviewer, and I analyze that to the best of my ability. So Dana Schwartz from Entertainment Weekly here says, ambitious, beautifully animated, and clever to a fault. Ralph Breaks the Internet breaks free of the pitfalls of most sequels by never foregoing heart for the sake of bigger franchise pyrotechnics, giving it a B+. So what that says to me is that it takes the core concept of the original, which again was the Ralph needing a friend, Vanellope needing a home, and the two finding each other both kind of essentially fish out of water and making jokes about it and saving the arcade, saving everything. And then, being happy with the lives that they lead. And then this one takes that, moves it to the next level, but doesn't forget its roots, is what it tells me. That it doesn't try to amp everything up at the sake of the story, which happens oftentimes when you get some sequels, right? Some sequels try so desperately hard to be bigger than their predecessor. Like Iron Man 2, for example. Iron Man 2, not a horrible movie by any stretch of the imagination, but it very much wasn't a sequel to Iron Man. It was a setup for Avengers, and that is what hurt it, right? This is one of those things where apparently it did the exact opposite, though Oliver Jones from The Observer gives it a rotten review, saying Ralph Breaks the Internet is a candy-coated, hard-shined brick of postmodernism, a Vitamix smoothie of gags, nostalgia, product placement, and fruity pebbles, giving it a 2.5 out of 4. So, okay. What I take away from that essentially is that's just a lot of in-your-face shine. It's a lot of style over substance. It's not going to give you a very heartfelt story. It's going to shove as much in your face as it can in terms of nostalgia, product placement, and things like that, which is to be expected. Going into the internet, it's going to be expected. Again, the Emoji Movie did pretty much the exact same thing. And people didn't really give it crap as a result of that. They gave Emoji Movie crap because it just looked like crap, and also Sir Patrick Stewart played crap. However, he was still one of the better parts of that film. Now, Jesse Hassinger from the AV Club here gives it a fresh review. If the movie falls into a feedback loop, credit should be given to Riley and especially Silverman, who bring human... or if the movie never falls into a feedback loop, credit should be probably go to Riley and Silverman, who bring human vulnerability to little bits of ultra-branded ones and zeros, giving it a B. So what that tells me is that the movie kind of, at least in Jesse's perspective, it very much is binary. It's very much by the numbers. It's very much kind of a by the number sequel. The story kind of goes where you expect it to go. It has a conclusion you expect it to have, but at the same time, the human moments, the vulnerability of the characters is what Sarah Silverman and John C. Reilly bring to Ralph and Vanellope, which again is something that they very much excelled in with the first film. I mean, Reilly brought so much human emotion to Ralph in regards to the first film, right? He's a bad guy in a video game. You never give him the time of day. You never think what it's like from his perspective. Yet here we are, 100% looking at the concept of Ralph from a three-dimensional perspective, of having thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And that is one that ends up getting the most love. And I think that works out really, really, really well. So it says here that from Alfonso Duralde, from The Wrap here, says, within a few years, the specifics of the viral video gags in Ralph Breaks the Internet will be as dated as a Tay Zonday joke, and he gives it a negative or a rotten review. All right, Alonzo. Sorry, I said Alfonso, but it's Alonzo. All right, Alonzo. Tay Zonday is not an outplayed joke, right? Like Tay Zonday, hold on, I need to move away from my mic to breathe in. Is still a great meme, right? Chocolate Rain. I listened to Chocolate Rain the other day just because I wanted to. I'm like, you know what? I haven't heard Chocolate Rain in a while. I popped that on. So to go after Tay Zonday as an old meme that's gonna die hard, like what you're trying to say that the viral video gags in this particular film are gonna do, I disagree. The internet finds charm in some of the most weirdest of places, and it keeps those memes alive. All right, why you gotta be a meme killer? Why you got to be a meme killer, Alonzo? That ain't right. That ain't right, dude. That ain't right at all. Now, Kate Erbland from IndieWire gives it a fresh review, saying it's funny and absorbing, and Moore and Johnson unload some real zingers for the internet age. Their interpretation of comment sections will speak to anyone who works on the net, chilling to the bone. As a person who makes their living on the internet, the comment section is very much a live or die place. I look forward to that particular part for the most part. I think it's going to be interesting. Anyway, Brian Truitt here from USA Today says, you'll LOL, you'll cry emoji. You'll never look at a pop-up the same way ever again. While the new Ralph falls short of the original's brilliance, any adventures with the big oaf and his glitchy BFF is hashtag winning, giving it 3 out of 4 stars. And that's good because again, it's you're gonna laugh, you're gonna cry, you're gonna laugh at the jokes that they put in there, but it doesn't have the same impact as the original because the original was such a fresh take on the concept of the trope of what it means to be the bad guy and what it was to save somebody and to be selfless. This one feels more like just trying to understand your identity and where you stand in the grander picture and everything else. Now it says here, Zaggy or Jazz Tange, sorry, it's Jazz, says, Ralph Breaks the Internet is a joy from start to finish. It transcends the ages, leaving young and old alike gawking in awe at the divinely imaginative world. I'm assuming there's no pornography in this film, so it very much seems like kind of a spit shine version of the internet. I mean, that's the kind of internet we all want. Let's be fair. That's the kind of internet we all really want. The internet we all want to live in for the most part. Yeah, it's not. It's a nice kind of rose-colored glasses. Look at it, and at no point in time do those rose-colored glasses contain a UV sensor, or else you'd be seeing nothing but jizz. Anyway, Molly Freeman from Screen Rant, another positive review, saying Ralph Breaks the Internet is bigger and more heartfelt with some fun Disney nostalgia, but the story gets lost in the online settings at times. And that was kind of my fear from what this might be, is the fact that looking at the trailers, right? You're looking in the background, you're like, oh, what did I miss? What's there? Oh my God, what, like, are there 18 billion YouTube videos for 23 things you missed in this trailer, which I probably should do one of those myself. But anyway, that's kind of how I view that. You see X-Wings, you see TIE Fighters, you see Stormtroopers, you've got Iron Man, you've got Marvel characters, Star Wars characters. What characters are going to be into this thing? What's going to be in the middle of it? What's going to be involved? And that to me says, yeah, like that's going to maybe get lost. It's going to take, people are going to go and see this multiple times, probably because the heartfelt story, the heartfelt characters, but also to see what they missed in the background. Now, Kristen Acuna from Insider here says, with a fresh review, while it may not make you as emotional as the first film, it's a must-see for the amount of cameos it includes, 2 fun end credit scenes, and plenty of well-earned laughs for both adults and kids, giving it an A-. So thanks for the spoiler alert about the end credit sequence. And also that the cameos is going to be a lot. Now, we've seen, again, the trailer. We saw all the Disney princesses. We saw the Star Wars guys, Iron Man, some Marvel stuff. There's going to be a lot more in the background that's probably not specifically in Disney's wheelhouse in terms of what they own. Just like it was in the first movie with Mario and Sonic and a few other characters popping up, everyone enjoyed the cameos. I am hoping that they're there, because that was one of my favorite things with Ready Player One, was like looking in the background of what all the cameos were. But I don't want it to take away from the experience, right? I've watched Ready Player One now about 6 times, and I love looking to see what's in the background, but I've seen it so many times now, the story still gets me. Whereas I don't want this to be the first time around to overwhelm me with the cameo appearances. Ready Player One at some point in time came very close to that, but it was also Spielberg and nostalgia in the 80s, and I was on board. This one feels like kind of an animated version of that, and again, I'm totally hyped for. Now, Eric Eisenberg from Cinema Blend, another fresh review, saying a natural evolution where the last one left off and is packed to the brim with surprises, meta references, and immense creativity. Now, I'm not going to lie. I happen to be a big sucker for meta references, right? Like, if you happen to be a fan of my content at all, like, that I like some meta references every once in a while. Kind of like, well, there's this one.
None of that pesky ad block.
Right? Oops. Yeah, that's the whole thing. So there we go. See, I brought up the wrong thing. But yeah, I like to put that in there. I like to have that little turn off that pesky ad block thing, because it's more fun to me. It's more of a reference, a meta reference. So if those are in there and they're done well, unlike my just glitch screw up right there, then obviously it's going to be a lot more fun. So I want to see what they're going to do with that. Going on here, let's see. Ashley Menzel from We Live Entertainment says, Ralph Breaks the Internet is full of laughs, for both adults and children, making it the ultimate family movie. And that is always difficult to do. Having a solid mix of both good and funny jokes that adults and kids can get are always going to bring people back in. I think adults are also going to love the nostalgia factor. I think they're also going to really enjoy the references to Star Wars and to Marvel that's going to be in this movie. Kids are going to love the princesses. And I think if there's a good solid mix between the two, it's going to be a film that will in fact transcend generations, because you'll be able to have children growing up watching Disney content, especially when Disney Play or Disney Plus becomes a household norm, and it's going to, trust me. we're going to see a fair amount of that. So I think it's going to be pretty good. Now, finally here, Tim Gearson from Screen International with a rotten review says, much like the World Wide Web itself, Ralph Breaks the Internet is a lively destination full of promise and potential that nonetheless ends up being a little disappointing. I don't know if that quite warrants a rotten review, if it ends up just being a little bit disappointing, but I mean, okay. Let's kind of analyze what he says here. It's a lively destination full of promise and potential, meaning that the idea of Ralph and Vanellope leaving the arcade, heading into the World Wide Web, what are they going to see? Well, we know that there's BuzzTube, which is a YouTube knockoff. We know that there's going to be like a whole bunch of jokes about social media and viral videos and memes and callbacks and probably a lot of cats, if I'm going to be fair on this one. And that's a lot of potential. But if that potential is not utilized in the right way, then of course it becomes something that is just eye candy, and it's just set dressing, and nothing about it ends up being of a lot of value. But it ends up being a bit disappointing here. I take for him to mean essentially, yeah, that's the problem, is that it doesn't end up living up to the expectations that Tim, I think, set for himself given the premise. But everyone else really seems to look at it from the fact that the story is heartfelt, the characters are human, the portrayals of them are human, their emotions are relatable, and that it's mixed in a grab bag of internet humor, meta references, memes, and cameo appearances. Provided the story sticks. Like I said, the first time around when I saw Wreck-It Ralph, the story didn't really stick for me. It wasn't until I watched it a few more times that I grew to absolutely adore it. And I'm wondering if this one is going to be the same way. And I don't know if that's me as a person or just how I interpreted the film. I'm hoping that doesn't happen this time around. I look forward to seeing it next week when it comes out. And you guys can look for my review over on 3Buck Reviews, which is linked below in the video description. Anyway, if you guys think this is gonna, if these seem accurate to you, let me know. What are your expectations for the film? Let me know. And if you made it this far, do me a favor, type in meme in the chat so I know. And definitely subscribe and check back often for more content from me. My name is Matt Jarbo. This has been RT Recap. This is 3Buck Theater. Have yourself a great day, guys, and peace out.